Hello and welcome to another video review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Zowie AM. Currently I have here the full gloss edition, which only comes in white, but Zowie does make a couple of other versions of the AM. There's a plain AM, which is a full rubber coated mouse, and there's a AM-GS, which is glossy side, so the top of the mouse is going to be a rubberized coating here, and the side of the mouse is going to be glossy. But on all versions of the mouse, they use the same shape, same size, same sensor, all that stuff. The only thing that's different is just the shell. And obviously the color. The full gloss edition only comes in white. The other two editions come in a black and red color scheme. So this white color scheme here is a white and gray. You have a gray scroll wheel, and you have a gray Zowie logo here. That's the only two things that are gray on the mouse, except for the bottom, which is also gray, and just the sticker and stuff like that. So now this mouse has 3 different Dpi steps. It has 450, 1150, and 2300. I don't like these steps, but I forced myself to get used to it. I'm more used to a 400, 800, 2300 step. So Zowie, if you're watching this, please try to incorporate a more native Dpi. So maybe like 400, 800, 1600, and 2300. If you can incorporate 4, that would be outstanding. I've seen it on certain mice that you can actually have 4, so please, on the next mouse that you do, try to incorporate that. Thank you. So first things first, it's a very clean mouse. It's what I go for on my gaming setups. I like overall cleanliness. I like the modest look. It's not like a certain mouse, I'm not going to name it, but it looks like a transformer or a kid's toy. That's not the type of mouse that I like sitting on my desk. I want something that looks professional, clean, and just straight to business, which is exactly what this mouse is. So it's all business. It's got 2 side buttons on here and 2 more side buttons on the other side, so that makes it an ambidextrous mouse. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, it will work perfectly whichever handed person you are. So the side buttons, they're tactile. They're not very hard to press. They're quite easy, and you're not gonna like misclick because they are positioned away from your thumb. So even if you are squeezing the side of your mouse, you're not going to accidentally click the side button, so you don't have to worry about that. They are positioned in a very good spot. The shape of the mouse is quite relative to the IO 1.1. If I'm not mistaken, it's a little bit lower and maybe a bit smaller, but I would have to confirm that. But other than that, it's an overall great shape, great design, looks very clean. Now even though this is a glossy version, I haven't had any sweat problems or anything like that. So if you're like, oh, you know, I don't want to get the white version because I don't want to get hand sweat all over it, you don't have to worry about that, because even though it is plastic, it doesn't accumulate that kind of gunk as easy as certain other plastics, so don't worry. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to talk about the aesthetics of the mouse. I mean, like I said, straightforward, just all business. All business. One thing that I would change personally is the scroll wheel. I would include the same scroll wheel design that they used on the EC series, where when you change your DPI, it changes the scroll wheel color. I think that would be cool if they incorporated that more on their other mice. I also like this very standard and classy look. So either way works for me. I'm not gonna complain about some glowing light. Anyways, moving on. So I'm gonna talk about the shape. It is quite small. I do have fairly large hands, so for me this mouse is a bit small. I wish they would come out with a second version. Maybe make it a bit wider and bigger, just so I don't have to squeeze it as hard. So this mouse is kind of short and narrow. It's a bit more narrow than let's say if you have a Sensei. You're gonna notice a big width difference. Be aware when you do switch over, or if you are thinking about switching over, be aware of that. But don't fret, because you can get used to it, because I've gotten used to it, and I have very big hands. Other than that, the shape is great. I like the high apex here. It fits in my palm perfectly. Everything else is set up perfectly. This mouse is very good for palming as well as clawing. So either gripping style you use, it'll be a good mouse for it, just because they took a long time in developing the shape, and the shape is great. In terms of comfortability and the shape, I give it pretty much a low 9, high 8 out of 10. Just because, like I said, I do have big hands and I prefer a slightly larger and wider mouse, but I've gotten used to it, so it's not bothering me too much. So performance-wise, they're using the Avago 3090 sensor. It's pretty much flawless. Tracks well on all gaming surfaces. Like I have a PureTrack Talon here. I haven't witnessed any liftoff distance issues or any tracking issues or anything like that. I've tried it on a QCK, tried it on a GCM, I've tried it on a couple of other different pads, tracks well on all of them. The liftoff distance is 1.5 millimeters, which is very low. I like it a lot, but so the only issue I have with that is that they're using their custom King-Sis lens, which means it kind of deteriorates the tracking a little bit. And it also kind of skews the DPI a little bit, so it's not going to be exactly 450. It could be plus or minus like 20 DPI up to around there or something like that. I don't know the exact details, but just because that they are using this custom lens, that it's not going to be exactly 450 DPI all the time, which is kind of saddening because as a competitive gamer, I need to have consistency. Either it would be in myself or the mouse. So when I'm moving from different mouse to mouse, I want to have 450 like on the dot every time I move over to a different mouse. Personally, I don't use 450. I wish that they used a more native DPI like 400, 800, 1600, and 2300. So if they could include that 4 DPI step, that'd be outstanding. So please, if you're watching Zowie, try to incorporate that in the next mouse. And please do not use the King-Sis lens. Try something else to get a lower liftoff distance or something, because I don't like this lens and stuff. But liftoff distance is great. But anyways, even though the DPI is a little bit skewed, I did get used to it. But it is quite noticeable going from 400 to this 450, or so they say is 450. I don't even know how much it really is. But so going from a true 400 to a 450 plus or minus, there is quite a bit of a speed difference. In a certain game I play, I can't adjust certain sensitivities in game, like the scope. So there's a fixed sensitivity on the scope of, like, let's say the sniper rifle. Now moving from like the Sensei, which had 400 DPI, the scope felt perfectly fine for me. But going to 450 or 470 or whatever this AM is, feels a bit quicker. So I'm having some tough times getting used to the quickness of the scope. But the other sensitivities, like let's say like a pistol or just the unscoped sniper rifle, sensitivity is like perfectly fine. It's like the same as the 400, just because I can adjust that sensitivity rather than adjusting the scope. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily mean it's all Zowie's fault, because that's also a fault in the game because I can't adjust scope sensitivity. But anyways, I wish that they did just clear that up a little bit, and I think that would just pretty much perfect the performance features of the mouse. Just probably use a different lens. The liftoff distance is great, so if you can somehow use a different lens and use a native DPI, like I said, 400, keep it at a 1.5 millimeter liftoff, that would be great. I mean, if you don't want to use the 400 or native DPI, you can use the 450. Shit, I don't care. As long as we're not getting these issues where the lens is adding like 20 DPI because it's magnifying, stuff like that to get that liftoff distance. So yeah, that's the only thing that I have to nitpick about. But other than that, the mouse is great, looks great. Yeah, sorry, this is a more of a talk video instead of a show. So apologize about that, guys. I really don't know what to show you. Really don't. Other than that, I've heard some people, like, if you're a very low sensitivity gamer, if you swipe too quickly, that it loses traction. But I personally, I haven't witnessed that. You'd probably have to be swiping really fast and at a very long distance, like half of my table distance, which I don't think is even necessary. And also I've heard that they fixed that issue anyway, so like I said, I haven't witnessed it. You probably won't either. So to conclude, or to wrap up, overall I give the mouse a 9 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is just because, like I said, it's a bit on the small side, and the DPI steps I wish they were, like I said, native 400, 800, 1600, etc. And that they are using their King's lens, which kind of deteriorates the tracking, and it adds kind of like this magnifying effect, which adds like 20 dpi or 10 or whatever. I don't know the exact details about that, but it is there. So it's the only thing I have to nitpick about. But other than that, it's a great mouse. Oh, a few other things people have been talking about are the Quantou switches. I can tell you now that there's no issues with them. They're easy to press, they're quite tactile, and they're very responsive. So if you want to get a single click, you'll get a single click. If you want to double tap, you'll get it. If you want a rapid fire, it's also very easy. They're great switches. Do not doubt the Quantou. Alrighty, now I'm just going to wrap up this review. I would like to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment below or leave a private message or anything like that. I'm very good about getting back with my viewers, answering questions and stuff like that, so don't be shy. If you found this video helpful, please give this a thumbs up or a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.